All right, we're back with basically stage 3 of the FJ Venture upgrades. This round is not super exciting, but hopefully some performance. Stepping up to 3S, so I've got some connectors I'll have to solder on there. They come with a nice little boot, so you don't have to use shrink. And then this is my second attempt at a metal servo horn, so I'm going to try this SSD with a spacer. So that's why I've got this assortment of little brass M3 spacers. I think I've got 2, 3, and 4 millimeter. And over here I've got some ring magnets, some rare earth ring magnets. So that'll be for the body. I had purchased the GPM magnetic body mounts, but they end up pushing the body up too high, and since I put the wheel wells in there, I don't really want a body lift on it. So I'm going to try these ring magnets. I watched some videos on those, and those seemed like a pretty good solution. So we'll see. And then for the next bit of performance, to go with the battery is a 16 tooth pinion. So that'll step it down from the 17 tooth that is in the stock. So I'm going to get this stuff installed. Okay, well, the pinion install was a bust. I opened up the cover and pulled out a 16 tooth pinion that was in their stock. So no need to replace it with a 16 tooth pinion I bought. So it gave me a chance to put a little grease in there, and while I had it apart, I decided to re-oil the shocks with a little of this 30 weight. I felt like I had one in the front, one in the rear with some dampening, and then the other ones were quite soft. So the servo horn worked out well. Although I need to space the servo down, you can see here I've got the panhard mount spaced out with 2 millimeter spacers, and I've got the steering rod spaced up 4 millimeters with a spacer, but the servo horn just taps the frame rail. You can see there. Alright, hopefully I've got this in good light, but I've got the servo space down, and you can see the arm just clears the frame, and then the 4 millimeter spacer added to that, and so that basically creates that whole big honking servo saver that it comes with. So you can see I just took the little plastic spacers that usually sit in the servo hole, screw holes, and inverted those and slipped them underneath. So those worked out to be about 2 millimeters, 2.5 millimeters maybe, but basically exactly what was needed. So I've got it bolted back together. So now the limiting factor is not the panhard mount, it's actually the bar. So I think that's going to have to space backwards from the mount, 2 or 3 millimeters. We're almost full stop over here, and it looks like we're getting full stop over here because there's no obstruction on this end. And the only thing that you'll notice is I basically unscrewed the panhard bar 2 turns to lengthen it to make up for that 2 millimeter spacer. So should be keeping all the geometry the same. Everything is sitting parallel, which is good. So one more tweak, see if we can't clear that, but pushing that back is going to probably snowball and make me move this shock to the rear mount. Alright, it's back on, plugged in, and I actually had to turn the steering down a little bit because the servo was bucking, so it was actually hitting the stop, and then it was twisting the servo mount and basically moving the servo. think I've got it about as far. If I turn it up a little more, I think you'll see. You see it start to buck. So that being said, this spacer pushing this back may not be required if we can't even get over there and use that. Well, I might could lessen that from a 3mm to a 2mm spacer, bring that back in a little. I did have to move the shock to the back mount, so I could clear that once it's spaced back. Once you compress and that shock leans in, it was hitting it, so. Oh, the struggles with steering geometry. Short of shaving that stop off the knuckle, we're getting an aluminum version that does not have that. These are brass, so I mean, I guess I could grind that off, but you know, at some point, I mean, the stop is there for a reason. You can't turn forever, so you know, definitely an improvement, being that no servo saver, metal arms. I feel like I've got more swing because I've moved the mount out, so I definitely get a little more travel than I had. I think everything would be kind of hitting there, so I'm getting just a bit more. Turn it down so I'm not bucking. All right, got my battery connection soldered in. Got my jumper down here. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little jumper on the ESC, flipped over to LiPo. And I went ahead and cut off that old Tamiya connector and put one on this stock battery. So I just had to flip the jumper lead back and forth. So there we go. Last thing to do is the body mounts. All right, I've got the magnets setting up right now in some shoe goo. And since this body already had holes in it, I could set the body on the posts and then set the magnets actually on the body over the posts on the outside, tape those down, pull it off, and then shoe goo around the hole and just hold these over, and they just lock right into place. You just kind of let go of them and they jump right where they need to be. So once those set up, I'll pull off the tape and the magnets on the body shell outside and then set those up on the inside with some separation tape, and then lay the body on it to make sure I get any tilt I need on the hood or anything while it sets up. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully I don't screw anything up. Okay, a little build update. While I'm waiting for the shoe goo to dry on the body magnets, I ran to the hobby shop and picked up the correct 15 tooth 48 pitch pinion gear. So I've got the cover plate pulled off here, and that's the 16 tooth in there. You can see they're almost maxed out with the motor, that screw on the left as far as in the downward position. So this will be dependent if I can scoot it down. I may have to modify the motor plate to get it to mesh. So that'll be the challenge. Stay tuned. Well, this was about the easiest part. That 15 went in there, no problem. Meshed in the little slip of paper between the gears, just fine. It's doubtful it could go any lower without modifying the servo tray cross brace below the motor mount. I think that's ultimately what's going to foul it up under here. I don't think you can see that very well, but yeah, kind of a bracket under there. You might have to sand that down to go with the lower pinion, but good news is it's a volt up, gear down success. So back to the magnets. This is the moment of truth. The body magnets have set up about 24 hours and the chassis magnets have set up about 12 hours. So hopefully we're able to pull this body off at this point. Let's see. Look at that, that's some hold right there. There we go, look at that. And here we are. Set up nicely. And then the ones on the back. So I tried not to get too much shoe glue on the top, but I wanted to get it up around the edge to almost encase it. Okay, here's a little shot of the underside. I had some painter's tape on there to make sure I didn't get a bond. When I had that sitting overnight, so I'll get that pulled off. And then I also noticed, I guess I had a little paint rub from the posts. And then now you see the shiny magnet under there, so you know what that means. So that'll cover that up, and then I'm thinking about painting the tops of these white. I decided to leave a ring on there just so the shoe glue won't rub against itself on the other magnet and rebond, you know, out in the sun on the trail. So check this out. Boom. That takes some force. Gotta really kind of throw it down. That just pops right into place. That is nice. And then I moved it down one body post. So there's just maybe 2 millimeters, maybe 3 of body lift. All in all, it's nice. You really don't see the nubs at all. And the post popping through. Now get this hood touched up and blacked out. And here we go with the reveal. We are finished. We are all touched up. We've got the white body post tips in the back. And if you look closely, you'll notice another little difference. Look at that. Had those little handles sitting here since the first build segment. Just hadn't gotten around to putting them on, and I thought, you know, as long as I'm doing some body work, paint, might as well add a little door handle detail. I think those look really, really good. Those are the carbon nylon, a little bit stronger than the normal. But there it is. I think it looks really, really good. Next thing is to get it out on the trail and test it. We did gain a little weight. I'll put those numbers on the screen. We're at 7.86 pounds overall with the battery in now. So let's get it out on the trail and put it through its paces.